Okay, so you can't come to school right now, so I'm going to try and do. I'm going to try to do some sort of online lessons. First of all, this is for the high level English kids. Either high level, any year is okay. But if your English is sort of pretty high level, it's kind of targeted at you. What I'm going to do just to begin with is going to use some prints, going to do some readings, and then if that works out okay, what I might do then is underneath where it says comments and things, put some link to a URL, try to set up a meeting, either using Google Hangouts or something, or Zoom or something like that, and see if we can sort of maybe then take it from just being me talking in the media center to my iPhone, to sort of maybe doing that a little bit, but also having a bit of chat later in the day at a scheduled time. All right, so I'm going to try to do this in one take, just like a regular class. So, let's face it, it's going to be awful. What I'm going to do first of all, I'm going to try to sort of teach like a class like I usually do. I'm going to do a reading, and I'll do the reading and then just sort of add a little bit of seasoning, a little bit of seasoning. That's what all teaching is really, a little bit of seasoning. Some teachers will add a little bit too much, sugar, sort of like, oh, Joseph, I'm not going to do that. And then other teachers, of course, add a little bit too much spice, too much sort of curry, like that. Not going to do that either. I just, a little bit of salt, a little bit of salt bay, to lift the flavour of the readings and stuff like that. So what I like to do first of all is, if you're looking at this on YouTube, and basically that's the only place I think you're ever going to see it, if ever, I'd like you to look underneath. There should be a link, and that will be a link to a PDF from some prints which we're going to use in today's lesson. All right. Now, so what I'd like you to do before we even start, I'd like you to sort of pause the video and then sort of print out, or get it on your iPhone, or double screen it or something, so that you can actually read the reading while you're listening to me going on. Okay, so I know really this is kind of a self-study stuff from the British Council. The British, I'm using this for a couple of reasons. Number one is British Council stuff is pretty good, and I don't think they'll mind us using this. British Council, I'm British, and anyway, Britain had Brexit, and they pretty much messed up my life, so I think they owe me something. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask you to pause the video. I'm going to just pull a nice face so that you can pause it instead of having it like this. So this is my pause face now. I just realized I didn't need to hold the pause face for a long time. But anyway, hopefully you paused the video now, you've printed out the print, and you should have some paper, or you should have your phone with you. And this is how it's going to work, right? So hopefully now you're sitting there watching me, and you've got the reading or something there with you, and we'll go through the reading together. And as I said, I'm going to try and do it as a normal lesson. I've printed out some stuff. I haven't prepared very much at all, as you can see. In fact, I have to be honest, I lost the reading on the way down here, but I printed out another one. Anyway, before we begin though, better be on the safe side. What I'll do is PG 13. There we go. We'll make this PG 13 sort of performance. There you go. So just put that there like that. There you go, PG-13. So that means, you know, if I let slip some bad words, I've got that there. And PG-13, of course, means, I think, parental guidance. I really don't want your parents to see this, because if they do, they'll be appalled. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to get into the reading, and we're going to try and get on to the subject today, which, as you maybe know by now, is kind of celebrities. All right, so we're going to do a reading about celebrities. And so just as usual when I do readings, I'm going to completely go off topic a little bit several times through this reading. And you could, that's brilliant for you, because you've got the fast forward button. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about celebrities. Obviously, you all know what a celebrity is, and when you think of celebrity, everyone, you know, you think of somebody. But I mean, let's think about, you know, celebrities. You know, I like history, so things, celebrities in history, and, you know, they've always been sort of, you know, famous people. We've always loved having sort of famous people, you know. I mean, I always like to go back to the ancient Greeks, of course, and, you know, they had sort of celebrities. They weren't called celebrities then, of course. They were sort of heroes. And so they had their ancient Greek heroes, and sort of you would have maybe the one I've got here is Achilles. Okay, so the ancient Greeks, Achilles is a hero, and so this is, you know, here we go. There's a photo of Achilles. This is really him. Ancient Greeks would sort of Achilles, and you know, Achilles, he was a celebrity. He was a hero. His job was basically to go out, do something heroic, slaughter people. And then all his fans would go, yeah, and you know, that was what being a celebrity was in those days. So there's Achilles, all right. And then you go a little bit later on, you go through history, and you have other sort of people who became famous. You know, most of you will know Mozart. He was sort of super famous because you know, he was very, very talented musician from a very young age. He wrote all of this fantastic music before the age of like 2, and you know, he's famous for being very, very good at the piano and writing all of this wonderful music, which we play to babies now. Anyway, there's Mozart, and of course, one of my favorite sort of early celebrities is this British writer whose name is Oscar Wilde. Maybe some of you don't know him, but Oscar Wilde, I think he was kind of, in a way, the first modern celebrity. He kind of understood about fame and being a celebrity. This is a photo of him. This is over 100 years old. I don't know if you can see this. You can see that there's Oscar. I mean, look at it. This guy basically invented Instagram. This guy is posing. He's not looking at the camera. He's all dressed up. I mean, this is modern celebrity. So Oscar Wilde, maybe one of the first people who was almost sort of famous for being famous. So there he is. You should read some of his stuff. Great stuff for kids. Anyway, so we're gonna get on now. So that's about celebrities. I mean, everyone has their favorite celebrities. I have mine. I'm going to share something with you now. This is something I actually have at home, and it's one of my treasures. And yeah, I don't know, maybe you're too young, but look at that, right? Yeah. Look. So this is Arnold Schwarzenegger from Terminator 2, and this is, you know, I love this because look, if you look closely, look. It's a signed photo of Arnold, and this is actually hanging. This is hanging on my wall at home. My wife absolutely hates having a killer robot on the wall at home. I really don't understand why, but you know, I'm really into sort of Arnold, obviously, for various reasons, because I'm old and I like violent movies. But anyway, you know, he was a fantastic celebrity, and still is. So anyway, let's bang on because I'm not really going anywhere. Now, as usual in class, before we start the reading, of course, usually I rabbit on quite a lot about nonsense like I just did. And what we do before we start the reading usually is go through a few vocabulary phrases, and usually I give my students, as you'll know, a very, very entertaining and very interesting crossword to do. Obviously, I don't think crossword on YouTube would be particularly interesting to watch. Well, neither is this actually, but before we do that, we're going to go through, I've made some very expensive flashcards, but something just occurred to me, to be honest, we are watching this on YouTube, and it does occur to me that possibly on that side, one side of your screen right now, you've got lots and lots of other YouTube videos sort of saying, hello, come over here. I mean, obviously some of you will have like some awful anime thing there, or there, not sure. Or others will have some quite appalling, music videos. Others will have, some disgusting stuff I don't even really want to think about. So what I'd like to ask you to do right now is to, maximize the screen. Okay, so you've got none of the distractions of, bad music or, sort of anime or any other distractions which you might have on your YouTube, sort of the algorithms which they give you. So maximized. I hope I'm still looking wonderful. We're going to go on, and we're going to bang on now with the vocab part of this lesson, which is, usually a hot favorite because I give you a crossword, and a lot of you just sit there and you sort of, some of you do the crosswords really nicely and very, very well. Others will just sort of like that. Yeah, we're gonna do the vocab part, and here's some of the vocab which we're going to need. This is the expensive, very expensive flashcards here. Here you go. This is the first word. Can you see that? I hope so. I really hope this is working. I don't want to do this again. If I'll make an outtakes video if it starts getting really sweary. Preoccupation. That's our first words from the reading. A preoccupation. This is a kind of interesting word because it's one of those words which means lots of things. So if we're preoccupied with something, obviously it means, one meaning is we think about it a lot. Okay. But to be preoccupied can also mean to think about it too much in a sort of negative way. So you can, preoccupied can also be to be worried. So yeah, good word for the moment, I suppose. Preoccupation anyway. It's when you think about something, too much really. So that's the first word. This word is kind of almost connected to it. This is one here, worship. Worship is when you sort of, it's what you do to a god, really. You sort of, you could say to the god, oh, you are wonderful, I love you, and things like that. And if you're a Christian, you will sing nice songs, and you'll do other things. But you can worship people as well. You think they're wonderful, and so there you go, the word, worship. Fantastic vocabulary session here. Okay, again, connected to this is this word here, idolize. Idolize. To idolize something or to idolize someone, of course, I think everyone in Japan knows the word idol. You have these fantastically talented people on TV, whose career is based on them wearing a particular type of bow tie or funny glasses or something like that, and they're very, very talented, and they're idols and things, I suppose. So idolize is to think someone is wonderful. Okay, so that's that word there. And then we've got this word here, vanity. Vanity. Well, to be vain is, to think that you look absolutely wonderful, absolutely gorgeous. And vain people will look at themselves in the mirror a lot. And so vanity is to be too proud and to think you're really hot. Very, very wonderful person. Yes, I almost let one of my PG words out there. Okay, so we got through the main vocab, which is on the floor right now, so I can't remember what it is. I think there was the word idolize and worship and preoccupation, and there was another word which we've all probably forgotten. All right, so let's go on now. We're going to go on to the reading, which literally I'm going to pull out of my back pocket here. And here is the reading for today. I'm hoping that you can see this. You have a copy of this. If not, this is not a reading. Obviously, it's a listening. But we're going to read through this. And I'm going to read through this, and then I'll stop and interrupt myself in the usual tedious manner. And what we're going to do is read through this, and as I read, usual, trying to keep things very normal. I'm going to have my tea, which I've got here, and hold on. Oh, I missed it. I'm going to have my tea. We'll do the reading, and then there's a few little exercises which come afterwards. Okay, so I won't keep you too long. Anyway, let's start up with the reading. Are you sitting comfortably? Celebrities are everywhere nowadays. They're on TV, they're in magazines, they're online. Is this preoccupation with famous people harmless fun, or is it bad for us? How many people are truly obsessed with modern media idols? On the other hand, on the other side of the coin, can fame be harmful to the celebrities? Well, studies suggest that the vast majority of teenagers do not really worship celebrities. Researchers have identified 3 kinds of fans. About 15% of young people have an entertainment social interest. They love chatting about their favorite celebrities with friends, and this does not appear to do any harm. I'm sure we all do that. Well, I'm sure you all do that. I don't really do that. Another 5% feel that they have an intense personal relationship with a celebrity. Sometimes they see them as their soulmate and find that they are often thinking about them. Is this you? Even when they don't want to. These people are more at risk from depression and anxiety. If girls in this group idolize a female star with a body they consider to be perfect, they are more likely to be unhappy with their own bodies. Wow. This leaves 2% of young people with a borderline pathological interest. I don't know why I'm laughing. They might say, for example, they would spend several £1,000s. Now, several £1,000s is a lot of money. More than several $1,000s, more or less, on a paper plate that the celebrity had used. So they'd spend a lot of money on a paper plate that their favorite celebrity had used. Or that they would do something illegal if the celebrity asked them to. Now, these people are in most danger of being seriously disturbed. All right. Now, what about the celebrities themselves? Well, a study in the USA tried to measure narcissism or extreme self-centeredness. When feelings of worthlessness and invisibility are compensated for by turning into the opposite, excessive showing off. I just want to interrupt myself here about, do we get this word narcissism? Because we're going back to Greece again, I think, with Narcissus. Narcissus was a guy in Greece, and there's some great stories about Narcissus. Narcissus was this guy in Greece, and he was like really good-looking guy. And he sort of knew he was good-looking. And lots of girls would go up to him and say, "Oh, I love you." And he would say, "Oh, yeah." And then he'd do things like, "Well, if you love me, prove it." And then, "Yeah." And he'd say, like, "Kill yourself." And and I hope they went off him a little bit then. And anyway, and there was this other girl, this girl called Echo, and she totally fell in love with Narcissus. "Oh, I love you." And she's just sort of, she went to Narcissus, and he said to her, "Who are you?" And Echo, because I guess she was called Echo, she said, "Who are you?" And she must have been one of those really annoying people in school who do that thing, when you just repeat. Oh, never mind. Anyway, Echo said, "Who are you?" And he just was not interested in Echo, right? And so Echo went off into the hills where, she just died and faded away, and all that was left of Echo in the hills was this voice, which is where the word echo comes from. So if you go into the hills and you yell something, that's the word echo. Anyway, back to Narcissus. Full of education, this story. And Narcissus was, he was just the guy who did these terrible things, and this goddess called Nemesis, she heard of him, and Nemesis, Narcissus is not a nice guy, and so what she did, she got Narcissus and she lured him to a pool. And she said, "Narcissus, come to the pool." It's a normal conversation, isn't it? Come to a pool. Narcissus, obviously at this point we learn that, at this point in the story we begin to realize that Narcissus isn't actually so bright, because if someone said, "Oh, come to a pool," you're going to think, well, why do they want me to come to a pool? I mean, if someone asked me to go to a pool, I'd say, like, they're going to push me in or something like that. But anyway, Narcissus comes to the pool, and so Narcissus, okay, I'll come to the pool. And Nemesis said, look, in the pool. And so Narcissus looked into the pool, and this is the famous story. And this is why he obviously is not so bright. Looked into the pool and saw something he thought was so beautiful. He fell in love immediately. It was, do I need to tell you? It was his own reflection. And say, and he's, you're so lovely. I love you so much. And he fell in love. And apparently the story is that Narcissus sort of fell in love there and faded away. There was a lot of fading away in Greece. He faded away and became this sort of yellow, golden and white flower, which your mum can go and buy in the garden centre if she wants to. Anyway, so there's a flower called a narcissus as well. So there we go, learning all the time. And I've completely lost the thread of what the heck I was talking about. Oh yeah, we're talking about, what about the celebrities themselves? Do we really care? A study in the USA tried to measure narcissism or extreme self-centeredness when feelings of worthlessness and invisibility are compensated for by turning into the opposite, excessive showing off. So this is when people sort of feel that, I'm not important, my life is unimportant, and they try to really, overcompensate by being, And anyway, researchers who probably are narcissists as well, looked at about 200 celebrities. And they also looked at 200 young adults with master's degrees in business administration, a group known for being narcissistic, it says here. I didn't know that. I've never met anyone with a business MBA who I think is particularly a narcissist. But anyway, and a nationally represented sample using the same questionnaire. So they had three groups, right? 200 people who are like, oh, celebrities. And then 200 business MBA grads who are apparently narcissists. And then 200 randoms, okay? Okay, and as was expected, yes, researchers, strangely, when they do their research, as was expected, don't do the research. The celebrities were significantly more narcissistic than the MBAs, and both groups were a lot more narcissistic than the general population. Here we go, surprise. So, there you go. So, 4 kinds of celebrity. Oh, I've got some flashcards again. 4 kinds of celebrity were included in the sample. The most narcissistic were the ones who had become famous through reality TV shows. So they scored highest on vanity and willingness to exploit other people. So these are the people, I guess, who are famous for being famous. Now, I used Google for this next part. I made my flashcards, and I just Googled in famous for being famous. So I got this photo. Now, I don't know if you, I don't know who these people are, but maybe you do. Anyway, these are people who apparently are famous for being famous. Homework is name them, because I have really no idea who they are. I'll throw them on the floor. Then the next came comedians who scored highest on exhibitionism and feelings of superiority. So comedians, there we go. There's a famous comedian for you. Very, very funny guy. There we go. And then came actors. Actors, there's an actor there, a famous actor. He's not quite as good looking, but you know, he's trying. There's a famous actor there. All right, I'll throw him on the floor where he belongs. And finally, the least narcissistic were musicians, and I think this explains why they are less narcissistic. There you go. So one interesting result was that there was no connection between narcissism and the length of time the celebrity had been famous. Right, well, that's interesting. So that means becoming famous probably did not make the celebrities narcissistic. They were already narcissistic beforehand. Okay. So that's interesting, isn't it? Suggestive, I think. Narcissistic before they became celebrities. Maybe you have to be narcissistic. I don't know. So what can we learn from this? Oh, here we go. People who are very successful or famous tend to be narcissists and are liable to be ruthless, self-seeking workaholics. As we can see from celebrity magazines, they're also often desperate and lonely. Well, particularly at the moment, you know, they're all on Twitter trying to tell us what they're doing at home in self-isolation. They must be really lonely, and we should all feel sorry for them, I suppose. They make disastrous role models. There you go. And there, that's the end of the reading, which I think it's not bad, you know. And so now, hopefully, also under the comments section, which you can't see right now because I'm in full screen and high definition and 4K and everything, and you're just thinking this is just great. This is the future of education here. You'll be able to find these prints here, which you can do You know, you can do the prints. And, you know, basically, also, at the bottom of this one print here, which I'm holding up, and I'm hoping my phone is still working. I really don't want to have to do this again. Discussion, there's a discussion thing. Okay, so at some point in the future, either we can sort of do this, these sort of discussion things as a chat room exercise on Google Hangouts or Zoom, if possible. Or what you can do is you can write a short paragraph. I know. I lost you already. But you could write a short paragraph, and you could, you know, you can send it in, and I'll put a blog email address down there, or I'll put a special email address down, just for this sort of this channel, and then you can submit stuff in, and then I can, you know, I can read it and comment on it. Okay, and there you go. So I really don't know how long I've been talking for, and I guess I'm talking to an empty room, and I'm talking to an empty internet as well. But never mind. This is one way forward for the moment, just to get us working, to keep us connected a little bit. And well, if you're still there, thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.